Hey everyone, welcome to the Chasing Rainbows Road Race, the replica of the UCI World Championships on the chasing calendar. Here we go, a big field of riders, one time slot to decide the champion of all chasing tour champions. Let's go. I'm in the Aussie kit because it's a cool opportunity to put it on. We're on the Tour of Well in Yorkshire. There's the climbs, 4 each lap and 7 laps. So 28 climbs. How was it going to go out of the gates? Actually quite comfortable and contained. People were being pretty sensible. The first KOM here was pretty easy. However, we got to Pot Bank the first time, and Pot Bank was where it happened every lap pretty much. This is where the first breakaway of the day happened, and one that I thought was going to be more dangerous than it turned out to be. My race plan today was to be completely patient for the first hour and basically not even show anyone that I was in the race or interested in helping out. So I could have some decent legs, hopefully, for the second hour of the race. Two guys went up the road, Tony Pletcher of OMG and Joe from Turbo. They got probably at their peak about 40 to 50 seconds gap, I think. And there wasn't much chase from the group. We were also not taking it too difficult either. About 37 minutes into the race, I decided to do a little bit of work, more than anything, just to get things moving a little bit to try and stimulate some of the others in the group to either chase me, so we could close the gap a little bit, or to do some of that work themselves. So that's what happened here. We got the gap down a little bit. And we eventually reeled those guys in. It was going to be a pretty solid 2 hours for them to hang on. Up Pot Bank for the fifth time, and this is where it started to get difficult. You can see Joe on the front going to orange numbers. Had to respond to these ones. Now, usually on Pot Bank, if you have the legs at the end of the climb, if you still have legs, is where it can happen. A few little moves like this throughout the latter half of the race to be aware of. Joe, again, up off the front, he was probably the main person to watch, even though there were a handful of other elites to watch out for. I jump across to this move. Again, thought that this could be dangerous with 20k to go. However, the peloton, which was still about 20 strong at that stage, obviously weren't keen to let us two go up the road, and fair enough. The downhills on this course are hard to stay away on. Most of them are kind of only like 50 to 60k an hour descents, so you have to push to get super tuck in a group of two. Second last lap, and this is where it happened. This for me was the hardest part of the race, and I had a tough time hanging on. To be honest, my legs felt fine at 6 watts a kilo tonight. This is nearly midnight by this stage, by the way. But at like 9 watts a kilo, I felt pretty shit and was just hoping for the best. Usually, when you've got good legs on this course, as I said, once that gradient flattens out, is where you can make the big moves. But for me today, it was all about survival at this stage. I wasn't really sure how I could give myself a chance to win either, knowing that I'm not as good sprinter as some of these guys. And I would usually like to really make it a select group over a place like this, but that it wasn't happening tonight. Over this part of the race, this is where it got down to the final 6 or 7. Climb number, what was it? Climb 22 for the day. Starting to get attritional, and the final group was here. Much like the women's road race overnight, a group of 6 or 7 went to the line. The last Pot Bank, and again, Joe is probably the main animator of the race. We've got Dan from BL13 having a fantastic ride, and then Ruben, who was super dangerous, probably almost a favourite from this point. And then Mads, Buster, and Honda, who love to sit back and wait for the finish. They weren't going to get distanced easily either. So again, hanging on over Pop Bank, no real intent to try and do much here unless it had kind of split. I think I looked back at some point and everyone was still there, and that's when I kind of gave up on that thought. Um, in order to try and win this race, honestly, at this point, I thought I'd have one crack to see if I could do an attack over the next climb, over the top of it into the downhill, to see if I got that moment where everyone else just looks at each other and you can kind of ride away in that time that they decide who wants to do the chasing. So that was my plan going into the next climb in a couple of minutes' time. Keep in mind that jersey on the left there is what I won for this race last year. Not sure if that's happening again, um, but it's a pretty cool honour, and certainly the race on the community circuit that I value probably the highest throughout the year. So it's a pretty good one to try and win. Here's my move. Just as we crest the hill, I go up to about 700 watts, but I notice instantly everyone is onto it. No leash for me. So abort, abort. And then now we've got to think how the hell we can try and beat these guys. All of them have either bigger 15-second watts per kilo or raw watts or both than me. Apart from the FRR rider, who doesn't provide joules anyway, so wasn't too focused on him. Now I'm going to play the last 1200. I was super satisfied with how I played this descent here. I've rolled to the back with good draft, and I've noticed Suglia go to 12 watts a kilo, and instantly I've responded because I know he can't sprint. I get across really easily, and then you can see I'm doing 3 watts a kilo and Joe's orange. So I've got a perfect wheel there in the final K, and everyone else in that back four have to go orange to try and get back across while I'm here doing 130 watts. So in a good spot. Now, just relaxing, relaxing. Now, a downhill sprint like this, you do not want to lead it out unless you're coming with a heap more speed, but that's not happening with the guy on the front pushing it. So you do not want to hit the front early. That was my main thing here. I see Ruben go. I see Joe go at the exact same time. Okay, so now I'm really cruisy at 700 watts in that wheel. You don't want to hit the front yet. They're still too long. You got to wait for your moment. And this was the moment. Hit the front, good power, over 900. I thought I had this race absolutely sewn up here. And oh, look at the bullet from behind Honda. Oh, that was super close. But we hang on by 0.03. That last 2 seconds was crazy. I thought I had it, but then there was nothing I could do if Honda was going to get there. I celebrated over the line, but had to wait for that finish screen. Have Don't know how I won that and beat those fantastic riders, but super stoked. Possibly getting another Chasing Tour jersey for 2025. We'll have to see with John. Thank you for watching. Cheers.